Hello and welcome to
High Tales with
High Tales with the Lit Sisters.
We're not lit yet. I promise, actually.
I'm like shaking because I'm ready. I'm anticipating.
You know what? They can probably know this. We haven't recorded in a couple weeks. I've kind of missed it.
Yes.
In my little routine.
I needed a break.
I'm a lot to deal with, apparently.
No, I'm kidding. But I do feel refreshed. And I feel ready to finally finish this book.
Finish this book.
And this series for now.
For now. Bum.
Okay, but I am Marisa.
Oh, I'm Nicole.
And we are here because we enjoy talking about books. Most currently, the ACOSF series, the last book, the last part of the book that now is just all spice.
Well, it's not really the last part yet. It's the second to last part.
Okay, we're in the last, 200 pages of an 800-page book.
True story. The first part of self-loathing is very, very long.
Yes, long-winded self-loathing.
Yeah.
And now just a bang fest.
Now, Nesta, where we left off, essentially, Nesta really fucked up.
Yes.
Really fucked up, told Feyre, everyone's mad at her, right? And she has really been working for months to better herself. So it was a big fall in, your ego a little bit.
And just to, zing the, intensity of how bad it was, she let Feyre know that she will most likely die during childbirth because nobody else has ever survived.
Right.
She dropped that bomb. And
also, everyone knows except for you.
And they've been keeping it a secret.
Right.
Including your mate.
And Feyre was not upset with her at all.
I mean, she started crying instantly.
But I think her first reaction was Rhys.
Yeah. Why
is
didn't
also
she
going to die. None of them know about their bargain. We know they made the bargain. No one else knows. He had already seen her die.
Yeah.
She had seen him die.
And they said never again.
Right.
So I thought it was die of a broken heart, but you don't really have to die.
They got a tattoo. It solidifies everything.
Couples get tattoos every day, Nicole. Okay.
But she screwed up big time,
did.
She really hated herself for it. Mm-hmm. So it was a big moment. What do they call those? Aha moments about yourself and everything. And she's back now.
She's back from being, what is it called? Banished to a really horrible hike.
She kind of went on a mental health holiday, like a
could
rehab.
Use one of those. So if I am just a big B word to you, can I just be like, my bad, and go take a holiday?
It happens all the time. You're such a bitch. All the time.
I know. But we also find out at the beginning of this book, while she is reminiscing about her 5-day hike, that after they practice the swords, they would bang a little bit, and then they would practice the swords again, and then they would bang again.
I don't know if a little bit should be a part of what happened on their excursion.
They are very graphic with not only what they're thinking in their head right before they bang, but the actual banging.
All of you who listen to this and read romance novels as well, it's really not that graphic.
It's graphic.
It's medium graphic.
I'm embarrassed to read this in public graphic. You have to I need to get book covers so nobody knows the spiciness, especially if people that have read it see you this far into the book where you're almost done. They're yeah, she's reading a lot of that.
We've read it too, so we're oh, you're getting to the good part.
No, it's just the whole don't look into my eyes right now.
What are the tells that you're reading smut right now?
My face looks like this. I actually,
color of the book.
When I read, I do this. Whenever there's any...
So I've noticed that I kind of look hold my head away as
I don't look directly at it. Don't look directly at it. I make the eek face while I'm
that
reading.
Emoji, the eek. So should we just get started into this part?
We forgot the biggest part of our whole thing.
Oh yeah, we didn't actually start smoking when we were reminiscing.
That's us sober guys.
Wow,
that's who we are.
All right, so Nesta and Cassian come back after 5 days, and Nesta can wield a sword, and the girls are wow, okay,
5 days.
5 days, and you can wield a sword now. And Gwen brings up in this Valkyrie research that they've been doing that Valkyries had a test. where they would cut a ribbon with their sword to determine when their training is complete. And you're ready for battle. And you just cut it in half. And I was thinking about it. That would be really, really difficult to cut a little, like, silky. I just saw this little red silky ribbon.
Kill Bill. Remember in that scene where, like, they're like, the knife, the sword's not strong enough until it can slice a ribbon falling.
And Cassian said warriors' trainings are never complete, so nice try. You're always going to be training. But, yeah, I would agree. If you can cut a ribbon, you can hold your own against most enemies. Emery tried, and she couldn't cut it. Nope. And they were like, it's probably impossible. Well, and there's no way anybody can do it.
They totally, like, made her do it first. Like, Nesta and Elaine were like, nope, you're the oldest, Emery. That's on you.
But then they're like, there's no way. It must be impossible. And Cassian just cuts the ribbon.
Showed ya.
Not impossible. In this time, as Nesta has come back, she cannot bring herself to go see Feyre and rightfully apologize, right? She also can't bring herself to go see Amren, who she had not been talking to forever and just busted into her house. Like, bitch, why'd you say not to tell me?
While they were mid-coitus.
Mid-coitus. But she kept doing those stairs. I think the stairs are, like, very therapeutic for her. I feel like when I was going through a lot, I had with the, like, miscarriages and stuff like that, I ran a lot. Mm-hmm. And it was a lot where working out became mental health for myself. I felt pretty connected to Nesta.
Are you saying that's why I'm crazy?
You should probably move your body. No,
is this an intervention for me?
It tames the demons in my head.
Probably.
So I feel like it would tame everybody's demons. But I can understand throwing yourself into like a monotonous physical activity, and you do a lot of thinking, a lot of self-revelations go on during that time. Every day she trained to cut that damn ribbon, and every day she failed. Yeah. Every day she tried to complete the stairs. Every day she didn't. Every day she fucked Cassian, but he never slept over, and she never got the courage to ask him to sleep over, even though we all know she wanted to.
Failure!
Yes. So she's working, but she also is still feeling a lot of very negative feelings about herself.
Which she has been for 600 pages very down on herself.
Yeah, well, and frankly, we know for the entire Christmas special, she was down on herself. Yeah. For the entire war.
I mean, for her whole life, every time you reference back to Nesta, I don't think they've ever said, like, oh, she laughed.
Yeah.
Or she smiled.
We see the wall breaking down. Yes. Over these last 600 pages, we have definitely seen major progress.
Well, and a lot of it is around her relationship with these girls.
Yes.
Like, she found her people.
She did.
Which is awesome. She opens up to Gwen and Emery, and she just talks about, like, I'm not here, just because I want to.
The war really messed me up. Yeah. I was in a pretty bad state.
Yeah, so my sister kind of made me come here. It was intervention because I was banging people a lot.
I was drinking.
And I was drinking a lot.
I was going to the bars every night.
But since I'm here, since I'm training, I actually don't miss the booze. Mm-hmm. I don't miss the dudes. Partially because I have one right now. So she can't really say she doesn't miss the dudes.
Right.
But she's like, I miss the music. That's the main reason I would go to all these bars. Gwen, remember you invited me to that, like, religious ceremony? Can I still come? And Gwen is like... Sorry. Gwen is elated. Mm-hmm. She goes... she, like, locks eyes with Meryl, and Meryl just looks at her with, like, so much hate. And she's like, oh, yeah, shoot. And she's like, where is Gwen? She invited me to this thing, and she's nowhere to be found. And Gwen comes walking out, and she's, like, one of the main singers, and she just talks about how beautiful her voice is. And
which we already knew. She sings in the library all the time. She's got a gorgeous voice.
Yes. So, like, Nesta is just kind of, like, swaying to the music. A lot of the music is languages that haven't been spoken in millennia, right? And so she's just going, and as she's going, she's imagining, like, going through this open field, and then she goes over to this mountain, and then she comes up to this mountain through this door and down into this deep dungeon with just, like, stone walls. And then she walks through a wall, and there's the harp. Mm-hmm. And she realizes while she was singing, while she was listening to the music and just kind of like relaxing her mind, she was actually scrying. Right. Because she was standing on stone and she's made of bones.
Right.
So she accidentally scryed and found out where the harp is.
Right.
And so after the ceremony, after Gwen's beautiful voice, she goes and she tells Cassian. She tells Cassian.
Cassian goes, I gotta go tell my boy Reese.
Yes. And then Nesta was like, oh, I can't go down there yet. I'm too chicken to actually see my sister after all of that.
Right. But wait, where was the harp?
The harp was in the prison.
In the prison. That has been there since before there were courts, since before. So it's ancient, very, very ancient. Nobody even knew it was there.
Yes.
I have to say, when I was sitting there thinking about the music that she was going into a trance, I could only think of our Catholic upbringing and sitting in a Catholic church.
And your mind just wanders.
My mind wandered all the time, and I wasn't scrying and finding a mythical thing. No, but I specifically thought about...
This is awkward. Wow.
I'm a witch. I remember that Christmas Eve where we decided to go to midnight mass.
Oh, God, that was torture.
And we were there for an hour and a half, listening to music, standing. And I was like, are we done yet? And it had not even started. In true Mama Ham fashion, we were there like 2 hours early to get a seat for an hour and a half long service.
Okay, but in our mother's defense, all Catholics do it because we were not the only people.
No, the place was full. The place was full.
2, we were a family of 6, so she, like, with little kids that could not stand in the back. But it kind of ruined Christmas Mass for me.
We never did it again. She always had these dreams of going to midnight mass.
Like, oh.
Because it'd be so beautiful. I will say the reason I thought of it, though, is because the music was beautiful.
Yes.
And it was the old cathedral downtown. It was a beautiful church.
Remember how your heart sank when you found out that the service hadn't even started yet?
Yes.
And we were like 3 hours in.
It was Christmas Eve. I'm like, I want to go home.
Santa's supposed to be coming.
We were a little bit older. I think I was like 12 at this point.
I was.
If I was 12, how old were you?
Much younger. Okay. Anyways, back to what we were saying.
Reese basically says, well, okay, this is awkward, but I had Helion. I had Helion teach me how to ward the prison like he did the mask and stuff. Because me and Feyre thought Bayron might break in and release the prisoners. Which way to tell the group, bro. 1. 2,
that's the Reese way.
I thought Baron couldn't release the prisoners. Reese can't. It's a prison. It's a court amongst itself. Reese can't release prisoners. How could Baron? I smelled like that was a little weird. I thought that was weird. It might be a plot hole. It might be foreshadowing into the next books that are not going to be written yet. Right? Let's note that. But I found that fishy.
I just mentally thought, oops, we leveraged something that nobody else had thought of yet, so we better cut this out so nobody else tries what we did for the war.
Yeah, the secret's out.
Yeah, that's how I took it.
But
I am not...
You're also thinking Baron will know how to do that.
I'm not a naturally suspicious person, so...
Yeah.
Of course I would assume
Either way. I was just like, that's a little weird. That's weird. But Reese is like, okay, bro, I gotta work through the night. I will release all the wards and the spells.
You can go first thing in the morning.
Oh, by the way, before you guys leave, take this spelled made sword. Just give it to Nesta. Let's just see what happens when she uses it. Let's just do a mini experiment.
I mean...
Cassian was like, that's a little sus. But okay, let me take it. Let me take it to her.
Oh, so... Reese stays up all night and undoes the wards.
Okay.
And then Cassian and Nesta get winnowed in and start climbing. And there's these separate rules that he's like, okay, don't mention Amryn.
Yeah.
Don't do anything. Just hold my hand and follow me and don't talk, basically. Yeah.
I did find it interesting that Nesta, you're seeing more empathy out of her, too. Mm-hmm. Because as they're going down deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper down underground, she's thinking of how Amryn had been here for thousands of years.
Yeah.
And she felt bad for how she had treated her.
Oh, yeah.
So we're starting to get these, like, glimpses of her, like, guilt.
Yeah.
And, like, ownership a little more of what she did as well.
Yeah, so they are walking
I want
through,
the friends to be friends again.
And you hear Nesta talking about how this isn't what she expected, because she's like, there's no prison doors or anything like that.
Right.
And she like hears scratching and clawing. Sporadically, Cassian would just like point to one of his scars and be like, yeah, that guy gave me this. And, just kind of walking down. They get down to this like dead end, and there is a door, a big door, and Cassian just gets white. Yeah, and he like, freezes. That's the guy that gave me the big scar on my chest. Right. Lanthus. I don't know. Lanthus. So we also know from previous history, which I know you didn't think that this was a interesting fact, but he is the father of the bog.
I did not know that.
Yes.
Why would I not think that's interesting?
Because I mentioned it in a previous episode, and you were like, yeah, nobody cares.
Maybe I didn't remember who Lanthus was.
That's probably what it is. Because I, like, that just dug into my brain, like, oh, crazy, because the bog is, like, this thing that almost hurt Tamlin. Right, So this guy is his dad and is, like, full god.
Damn. Yeah. No, I didn't remember who Lanthus was. Yeah. Definitely. Because I remember this story, but I don't remember any of these people's names. Yes. Because when I'm not reading it for a podcast, I just go blah, 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 and move on. I don't like... Yeah. I know the main characters' names, but everybody else, I'm like, oh, the L one. Yeah. Oh,
But that's why you have to, like... It's like rewatching the first couple seasons before you watch the new season. Because you catch some of those things. Yeah. So if a new book comes out, does that mean we have to read all 5 of these again?
No. Listen to our podcast, guys.
Okay. Anyway, so Nesta is like, okay, it's here. And just like puts her hand through this wall. Right. And Cassian's like holding her and is like, no. Like, be careful. Like, I don't know if we should do this. And she's just like, fine.
Bro,
and like,
I got this.
Pulls him through. And then they can feel the shield. Right. And on the ground are all of these like writings and stuff, symbols that they don't even recognize.
They can even feel how old it is. They can feel that it's not like magic of their time or what they're used to. Yes, just
very old magic. Yeah. All warded up. The harp is in the middle. Yeah. And Nesta is like, okay, I got through the wards for the mask because like calls to like. Right. So Cassian, let go of me. Like calls to like. I'm just going to go. And he's like, no. You're not doing that. And she's like,
you're kind of fucking this up, bro.
Watch me.
I'm made. You're not on the list, okay?
So
I'm on the list.
She said, you don't get a vote. Yeah. I'm doing this. Yeah. But even as she's going against the ward, how powerful Nesta is, she feels it like so strongly on her. She's like, oh my God. Like, and just like slowly creeping, and it starts covering her more and more.
It's like closing in on her. The power is, yeah.
She gets a hand on the harp to like grab it and hurry up and get away, and she gets the ward like presses even deeper on her, and like she keeps getting these different flashes. Yeah. And one series of flashes, she is like hearing like people crying out and screaming for help and like begging somebody to save their children. Like, please, no, save my children. And like trying to push them like where there wasn't a door. Like push them through walls type of thing. And on the other side is who?
Oh, Braylon?
Yeah. So Braylon? She sees Braylon with the crown, and Braylon sees her with the harp, and she realizes that when they're both at the same time touching one of the trove, they can see where each other
directly. Yeah.
And Braylon's just like, I know where you are now.
I know where you are. She also says, I know about your 2 little friends too.
I know your people.
Yeah, she says the broken Illyrian and the half-breed. So I know who your people are, and I know where you are, and I'm coming.
And so then Nessa's like, oh shoot, I'm stuck in the ward. I need to drop this harp because Braylon can see us. And she's just like, let go of me. And it worked with the mask. When she said, I no longer wish to be connected to you, the mask just dropped, and she was able to take
Those are magical words, guys. I wish to no longer be connected to you.
Yes. That's how I break up with most of my ex-boyfriends. Is that not
didn't even get that deep. Marisa invented ghosting.
No, I just
invented ghosting.
I was just a really bad girlfriend, so they would break up with me.
Oh, so you were a dude?
No, I wasn't like cheating or anything, but I would just like be awkward. More awkward than I normally am. And they'd just be like, this chick's not fun. See ya. Peace.
I don't think that's how it really went. Because I think a lot of times they're like, I just need more connection from you. And you're like, really?
Well,
cool.
I think one time somebody said, I feel like you don't even want to be in this relationship. Like, do you want to break up? And I just said, okay. How it's
burn.
They're never good conversations. I've never had a conversation that was not I
have not been in that situation where I've had to break multiple men's hearts.
You've broken up with people in your past. You've only been with one person ever?
I mean, I kind of would break up with my first boyfriend, and then I dated the guy I married. Anyways.
Okay, sorry. But I digress.
Like, hey, harp, how do I use you?
Yes. Can you please? And she's just like, just string my string, and I'll let you go.
That's not what she says. I did hear a Disney sing-songy voice, though, when the harp started talking to her.
I pictured, like, the harp from, like, what's the Jack and the Beanstalk? Where she's just like,
I did kind of picture her where she's like, the small strings do light movements. The bigger ones leap largely. You know, like she was speaking in riddles and all that good stuff. Great and monstrous magic are the big ones.
Yes.
And so Nesta's like, okay, I guess that means like pluck the smallest string.
Yes. Well, and the whole time the harp is like, I want to play. Like, let's play. Like,
yeah.
And it's just like in a giddy mood.
When she saw it in the church, in the trance, the harp was like, come play with me. Come play with me. Yeah.
Nobody's played with me in a long time.
It was like a creepy Disney character.
Yes.
Like we were on the
Small World.
It's a Small World ride. It was like, come play with me. Come play with me.
You're going to get some people very angry that you just...
That is a
national treasure.
It is, and I will ride it every time I'm at the Magic Kingdom, but it's creepy as fuck, too. It is. It is. I love the overall message.
Can we say AF for our Disney audience, please?
It creepy AF. Okay. Come play with me, play with me.
That's not what they sing.
But they do have, like, the little jerky doll movements, which is, like... I get when it was like in the 50s, it was probably really cool and sweet and demure, but it's not now.
Now it feels a little, the robots woke up and are taking over.
Yes. Yes. Very much. They all come play when the park closes down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yes.
Which I cannot watch that movie, by the way.
That's too scary for you?
I can't even watch the commercial for it.
My kids have watched that.
Yeah.
My 9-year-old kids.
Yeah.
It is scary, though.
Yeah, your kids can handle much more than me. I tried to watch, like... Okay, we don't have to go there. I'll just show everybody how bad I am. I'm like a 12-year-old. I can't handle anything.
Are you as bad as her niece?
PG-13 is as far as I go.
Are you like our niece where she can't handle suspense is too scary?
No, it's not suspense. There's just certain things, like ghosts I can't handle.
That's the best kind of scary movie.
I can't handle ghosts. Vampires are okay. I can do that. Zombies, I can't do zombies.
I love zombies.
Aliens are touch and go depending on what type of alien.
So like aliens. Alien.
So when I first started watching Stranger Things, that first episode, it felt like this could be alien abduction. And so then I didn't watch it for like the 5 years that it was on and popular. And then I waited and watched it when it was done. Because it wasn't alien.
You could handle the second season's monster in the mall?
No. Monsters I can handle.
Okay, that thing was gross, though.
Yeah, gross thing's fine.
Oh, I can't handle gross scary.
I can't handle,
like... Saw, I couldn't do it.
Oh, I can't do Saw. No. I can't do, like, the, like, bones sticking out, blood everywhere.
Yeah, gory. I can't do that
I can't do gory.
Maybe I should
Quiet Place I still haven't watched because I am scared of that one.
Is that the Sandra Bullock one?
No, Bird Box is the Sandra Bullock one.
Yeah.
That one I had to watch in the middle of the day when it was bright everywhere. We had to wait until our parents took my kids so we could watch it during the day. Because you can't watch that when the kids are around in the middle of the day. But I still haven't watched A Quiet Place.
Those are both really good. I like suspenseful. The harp is like, play with me, play with me, play with me. And tells her the string, and Nesta's like, okay, let's just roll with the smallest string.
And she's like, let me go. Bing. And the harp's like, fine. And so Nesta can
That's exactly what the harp says in the book, too. The harp goes, fine.
Fine. And then she finally can let it go, puts it on her belt. They start walking out. They pause. Lanthus's cell door was open. Yes. And if you recall, he is like mist and shadow. Like, he's nothing. Like, he can be anywhere and transform into anything. Kind of like the bog.
He's like immortal mist. And like you said, he's the bog's father. So that makes sense.
Yes. And so they just start hearing like, oh, king of bastards. And he's just like taunting him. Like, you tricked me the first time, but you can't kill me.
Yeah, because the way Cassian did it the first time is he trapped him in an ash mirror. And they put the mirror in the prison, so he was trapped in there.
Yeah, for all eternity. And then he's
not all eternity, because he's out.
He's like, I told you I'd come out.
Here's Johnny.
And he's like also taunting Nesta, and we realize that he made the connection that Cassian cares about Nesta. Right. So he's like, Cassian in his head is like, crap. He's going to mess with Nesta, too.
Right. So I love how Cassian just, like, takes one of his siphons, throws it to Nesta.
And it's like, run!
Run! Go!
And she does. Yeah. She follows directions much better than Feyre ever did, by the way.
True story.
So she's sprinting, and she just hears, like, the fighting, and Cassian, and we know that he can't die. He's just missed. So anything Cassian does, it's just, like, bubbles floating away.
This is all just, like, wearing him down.
And it's the same thing, like, with the King of Hybern, where it was, like, crunch, crunch, crunch.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we hear in the background. And so Nesta is just running with the siphon, with the harp, as fast as she can, and she gets towards the end, and she sees a bunch of Autumn Court soldiers.
Yeah,
and
10
she's like,
Autumn Court soldiers.
Shoot, that nasty crone actually sent her people here.
Shoot.
They call her a crone multiple times.
They do, but the way you go, shoot, that nasty crone.
Okay.
You nasty crone.
You know I don't start cussing until I get one more too.
Maybe take another hit.
Oh, shut.
Let's get this shit rolling, okay? Nesta's like, fuck. What am I going to do?
Fair. Nesta does say
and she says, take me to Cassian. Blink.
And she actually pulls 2 strings that time.
Oh, did she?
Yes. And so she gets to Cassian. Cassian's like almost died. He is in horrible shape.
He is not looking good.
It was not good. And she like draws the sword and like swipes. And he, like, turns into his human form. Or, like, Fae form.
Yeah.
Like, immortal Fae form. And he's like, that's not Narbud?
Yeah.
Which is the other, like, made sword. And she's like, no, bitch, it ain't. Get in your cell right now.
He also asked her, what death god are you? He's like, that's not Narrabeen. And what death god are you?
Yeah.
I'm Nesta, bitch. No.
Did I stutter?
He knew right away, though. He's like, we heard about you.
Yeah.
You're the one, what did he said? You're the one the sun, wind, earth whispered about. Mm-hmm. That she took from the cauldron itself. He called her the Queen of Queens. And then he's like, hey, baby.
So he, like, sent her a whole vision of those two, like, ruling the world.
Yes.
And
so powerful.
The big, huge, like, animal statues in the Court of Nightmares, like, those were actual dogs in front of their throne. And Nesta
their kingdom was
there.
Endless. And the mask and the harp and the crown, the crown was on his head. Like, they had it all.
And he says, like, I can't wait for the wild hunt to come again. We'll rule the world. And, like, it goes up, and finally she sees he has the crown on. Yeah. And she's like, okay, I see right through it. Okay, and it actually snaps her out of it.
Pause.
Yes.
The vision was a little more graphic than that.
Well,
in the vision, she's like, we had a rule of coercion and enslavement and producing an heir would rule the entire universe. And then he fucked her good.
In this illusion.
Right. And that's when she was like, wait a minute.
Oh, you know the other part we forgot?
I don't love you.
I love this guy that's dying behind me.
Yes.
So it woke her up. The other thing that we missed besides the SEX. Okay, fair. The other thing that we missed was behind them was the harp, the mask, and then something that was like behind mist, like another thing, and she's like the edge looked like
it was
bone,
shadowed,
but it was shadowed.
Yeah.
So she's like, okay, there's something else there.
He was wearing the crown,
and he was wearing the crown.
Yeah, agreed. We did forget that too. So,
which is just as important as the part you brought up.
Very much. It, again, could be a plot hole, could be a huge like foreshadowing moment for these books that will be coming out.
It's the latter.
It has to be. We'll talk about that in 2 episodes. No, I'm just kidding.
So Nesta is still like, I'm not gonna be your queen. Yeah. Get in there or die. And
he's like distracted at this moment.
Yes.
And he doesn't see Cassian.
Boom. Right through the neck. A knife. And Nesta finishes it off. She always, like, after somebody kills somebody, she likes to just cut off the head and then take credit.
She has to, like, double kill.
It's like double tap. It's Zombieland.
She cherry picks death.
Rude. That should have been Cassian's win.
Nesta cherry picks death.
But she does it very well and dramatically.
I mean, it's badass. It would make a great movie, right? But it is a little stealing of one's thunder.
Yes. Yeah. And so then she, like, grabs Cassian and is like, okay, his bone is, like, out of his body. There's no way I can carry him. And she's like, okay, well, I did 2 to get from the top of the cave to the bottom. Let's try, like, 4. And she's just like, take me to Valeris. Yeah. And they go. They land on the lawn of the river house. Rhys comes running out. They are saved. Cassian is in very bad shape.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Nesta's like, get this harp out of my hand.
She also told Feyre she was sorry for everything she had said. Because the first time they had seen each other. Mm-hmm. And Feyre answered, like,
we good?
I already forgave you. Yeah. No, I thought that was sweet too.
That was, but yeah, I forgave you after like an hour.
Yeah. I don't know if your boyfriend told you, but I actually was talking to him in his mind and said I didn't really care. Yeah. And it was actually my husband's fault.
Yeah. I yelled at my husband.
I actually took your side, in all honesty.
You know, your blood.
Dramatic turn of events. I also would say Nesta a little ballsy with mythical items.
Yes.
Like, let's just, like, throw caution to the wind and pluck 4 strings.
If you think about it, though, like, the way they describe it, it almost feels like if she touches it, it's like an extension of her. Yeah. So the ease of that, the fact that she can make them herself.
Feyre was kind of like that, too. And so it's probably because they're human. They were human, and they didn't know all these things.
They're stupid, is that what you're saying?
They'll take risks that these other Fae
are like,
won't, because they've heard about it their entire life, been warned against it, know more stories.
Well, and frankly, their lifespan is like ants compared to Fae.
True.
So they're just like, well, I'll die in 10 years anyway. Bing!
Fuck
Pull
it.
the string.
Who cares? So they are back, and Nesta is telling Rhys and everybody else about everything that her and Lanthus were basically talking about. And Lanthus had brought up the wild hunt. Are they bringing the wild hunt back? And Rhys was like, I thought that was legend. I thought I had heard about this. But if Lanthus remembers that makes him over 15,000 years old.
He looked good for 15,000 years.
I mean, he is missed. Okay, there's not a whole lot to hold up after that any time. But basically, before Fae were there, almost godlike creatures called Daglin that ruled for millennia and enslaved Faes and humans.
So this caste system is like humans, lesser Fae, high Fae, and now these gods above high Fae.
I don't even know if high Fae was a thing. Like, Fae were so lowly, like humans, that it was just like, you guys do this work, you guys do this work type of thing. So this Fae named Fionn rose up to overthrow them with this sword, Gwendolyn, that was dipped in the cauldron. That's what was able to defeat these godlike creatures. They had millennia of peace in the land. It was broken into those territories, like those first courts. And in the end, they were on the brink of war, and Fionn untired them. That's a typo.
Well, they were very untired.
It's united.
Yes, he united.
And eye placement matters in a word, guys. So they were millennia of peace. They were on the brink of war, and Fionn united them and became the first High King. And then...
So this is the same person that they talked about earlier in the book, but now we know his name is Fionn.
Right.
So we hear his whole backstory in relationship to...
He's the one
Lantis.
whose wife, in general...
King Arthur.
Lancelot.
And Gwendolyn.
Just like the sword. Oh my god, I just made that connection. Wow. Okay, but anyways, they betrayed him, killed him, and took his bloodlines and most powerful weapons, and high courts were formed at that point. Mm-hmm. And then I think we get into the whole high fae, low fae, all of that kind of stuff.
Yes.
So then Nesta's asking, what's Narrabin then? Because he talked about Narrabin. It was a death sword that could trap monsters like Lanthus, who is this immortal mist, into a mortal body. Atraxia basically bound him to that physical form so that Cassian could kill him.
Yeah.
I'm giving Cassian the credit.
I give Elaine the credit.
I
don't think Elaine wants the credit.
They don't talk about like Elaine did that at all. They just talk about Nesta killing.
Because the next book is about Elaine.
Let's hope. And Cassian was like, so even when he was trying to kill you, he was trying to get in your pants and seduce you. She's like, I'm a catch. What can I say? This is also when she mentions that there was a fourth object that was like shadowed.
Yes.
Amryn even only remembers a faint rumor of it, and Amryn's like 10,000 years old, they think, or something like that. So there's definitely the whole thing about them forgetting.
You know what I bet's gonna happen?
What?
Eventually they're gonna find out what it is, and Reese is gonna be like, I thought that's what it was.
Mark it right now. Date, time, stamp. Marissa calls.
Calling it.
Reese is gonna kind of already know what it is.
Of course.
But nobody else does. And he doesn't let anybody else in on it.
Why would he?
No. I'm going to call it right now. It is some sort of bow and arrow or something like that.
Yeah.
And it is part of Elaine's coming of womanhood story. That Elaine can see it in some way, shape, or form.
Ooh.
With her seer powers. Like something's going to come with that.
I feel like we need to pause and remember that for our theories episode.
Write it down on your blank piece of paper.
I don't take notes. I ain't no secretary.
As I writes, Elaine used...
Okay, so they now have 2/3 of this troth, or 2 force, if we're counting the misty, shadowy. So Braylon has 1. We have 2.
Winning.
Now let's go get Braylon's.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, no, you do not. That's just stupid.
Feyre does put her foot down. She's like, the hell you will try and do that.
And Reese was like, well, maybe we can't. And she's like, no.
Absolutely not.
Not going to happen.
She pulled the High Lady card, and she's like, you get within any certain amount of feet of her, she's going to take you over. That's not a risk I'm willing to take. I loved that part. It was very High Lady.
Yes. Well, and I love that Reese backed down. It wasn't like they even had a conversation in their heads. He pushed back, and then it was like, okay.
To tell her a different side of it, and it was like, no. Yep. Absolutely not.
So then they're like, okay, well, at minimum, we've got to make sure our alliances are strong.
Right.
We need Eris to come to the winter solstice celebration.
Yeah, we got to see what's going on with Baron. What does he know? Is he under Braylon's control? Is he willingly? All of this.
Yeah. Well, and he's already antsy, because if you remember the last time we saw Eris, he got caught by Tamlin, and Nesta stood down Tamlin in beast form, which I love.
In the spring court, but Tamlin knows that they're meeting.
Yeah, so now it's like, oh shoot, Baron's gonna know we have this alliance.
Tell my dad.
And my dad will murder me.
Yeah.
Like he has tried so many times with other brothers of mine. But he's not really his brother. Another one to write down your note.
I did. I already got it. Got one.
For our next episode.
Okay. Eris is coming to winter solstice in Huon City.
And the plan is to have Nesta seduced him with dance.
He needs to know he's important to us, right? Yes. He needs to know we really like this alliance and we're not just faking it.
Yes.
How can we do that? Get in his pants.
Yeah. Well, it's just an escort. You only do it if you want to.
Hey,
that's what makes it legal.
I heard one of these sisters is really good at dancing and has kind of a rep doing shit like this with some duke before. So, Nesta?
And Cassian's like, F no.
Absolutely not.
And again, Nesta's like, oh, by the way.
He tried to put his foot down so hard.
You don't get a vote.
Yeah.
Brother.
We're not together.
Excuse me. And so Nesta's like, I got this.
Yeah, I'll do it. Meanwhile, Moore's going to teach Nesta the dances of Fae. The dance of the Fae, okay? And Nesta asks if Moore's bothered at all by this plan because of Eris. Moore's like, no, because I know you're going to make him crawl before the end. Girl power there. Like, they had a kind of a shared camaraderie.
Yes.
So Emery was there when Moore winnowed Nesta there for training. And I thought it was interesting that Emery was, like, mesmerized by Moore. Like, everyone is mesmerized by Moore.
She's beautiful.
But Emery says that. Like, I just see her kind of, like, staring at her. And then when Nesta, like, goes over to her, she's like, she's so beautiful.
She's so pretty.
It's like, I think Emery's in love.
You know who else is giving eyeballs?
Who?
Gwen and Azriel. Like, they only mention him, like, smirking ever. So when, like, she says something funny.
I'll be honest, the first time I was reading this, I picked up on nervousness because I thought it was nervousness because Az
was the one that saved her.
Yeah. But the second time through, and I think it's because then you kind of hear other people's spoilers possibly, or their theories, not spoilers, their theories. I then picked up on, like, flirty.
So I think what was interesting is when it first happened, she did just, like, look at him, and I did think it was more like nervous recognition.
Yeah.
But then, like, as it gets later and later in the book, you notice that, like, during training and stuff, they're, like, smiling at each other.
Yeah.
Or, like, she's just glancing to see where he is. And it's more him than her.
Right.
Or, I'm sorry, it's more her than him.
That's what I heard you say the first time, and then when you resaid it, I'm like, no, you didn't say that the first time.
I'm glad I caught myself on that.
Oh my God, you caught yourself. Then Gwen gives Nesta and Emery these thin little books, and it's a chapter of the book that Meryl's writing about the Valkyrie, and it's about them. It's called The Rebirth of the Valkyries.
They're bringing the Valkyrie back.
Both Nesta and Emery were like, it's about us. Like, we're going to be in a book that other people are going to read thousands of years from now, trying to figure out how to save the world again.
Yeah.
Right? I thought that was an amazing solstice gift.
Yes.
For them. That night, Nesta asked the house for a small fire, and she, like, mind stills, like, breathes through the cracking of the logs and kind of makes it through. And when she opens her eyes, there's, like, this little trail of twigs that leads her to the library. And it leads her all the way down to the very bottom of the library. And she can feel the house, like, kind of talking to her and guiding her down the whole way. And she comes to the realization that the house is showing her its heart as, like, a winter solstice present. Like, the house was trying to show her that Emery and Gwen and her, deep down, they're all the same. They all have deep, dark, broken pieces of themselves. But they're like...
But together, we're all okay.
They're healing. You know? Yes. Life is about, like, recognizing these broken pieces of yourself and healing through it. And it's like Gwen telling her story, knowing more about Emery's, all of them are helping each other heal, which is why they have this connection, right?
Yes.
It's really pretty and beautiful, and it just makes me love the house even more.
I agree.
The house is kind of my favorite character right now. We'll save that for the end, but the house is very cool. Huon City.
It's time to go.
Huon City. This is a big deal, because this is, remember, the first time Pharaoh went, she was his whore.
Yes.
Second time, she's High Lady of the Night Court.
Yep.
Now, she is pregnant.
Yes.
With the heir.
Yes.
Right? So this is a big deal. And presenting the sisters to, like, as part of the Night Court.
Yes.
As well.
And Moore asked Nesta, like, what are you going to wear? Nesta's like, I don't know, just something I have. And Moore's like, oh, you can't do that. And by the way, if you're trying to seduce Eris, he is so flashy and wants to, like, be all prim and proper. If you don't come in, like, a couture dress,
you're going to see right through you.
Yeah. And she's like, I got your back.
Yeah.
And so...
I got something.
And then Nesta's like, oh, by the way, like, please be modest. Can it, like, have a turtleneck, please?
I don't remember this.
No, she didn't actually say that.
Oh.
But she said it in a Nesta way. Like, don't dress me like a slut.
Don't dress me like her, please.
Well, and she also named, and my sister.
She did.
Yeah.
I forgot about this part. She was like, don't make me look like a hussy like them two bitches over there.
Yeah. Like, pretty much everyone around here.
I'm a lady. I'm a bitch, but I'm a lady bitch.
Except for with Cassian.
Hands on the headboard.
Anyway, so Moore is standing, waiting for them to enter. Mm-hmm. And Cassian's on one side, Azriel's on the other. The two thrones are there. And in walks Feyre and Rhys.
Yeah.
And not only is she not hiding it, like, they're, like, making the smell of her pregnancy.
Oh, yeah, he
like,
lets the smell go.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's just, like, a very powerful stance.
I'm not going to lie. Every time they talk about releasing the smell of something, I kind of go, ew.
Well, they're always talking about smelling each other.
Always.
Like, they can smell the lust.
And I just instantly think, like, a farty kind of thing, because we don't smell stuff like that.
Okay. Well, can I also say, you know, all of the, like, teenage movies and stuff have, like, where guys accidentally get some, you know, in class. Like, it just spontaneously happens.
What? They fart?
No.
What, Marissa?
Just say it. But anyway, like,
I don't think they have any idea what you're fucking talking about.
But you do help me.
Boys get boners in class sometimes, she said. She can't say boner out loud.
I just didn't want to. You can't make me.
Boner, boner, boner.
Anyway, so, like, can you imagine in high school, like, that smell just, like,
this is where you're going. I'm so caught up on the fact that you couldn't say the word boner, but the point of it is, could you imagine smelling everyone's boners?
Yes.
All
like,
through
you
high
can't
school.
hide that with a binder.
Dude. That would suck.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's all hot in a book when you're, like, an adult.
Oh, yeah.
But, like...
Or, like, if you're sitting there watching TV with your parents.
Oh, my God. That would be so awkward.
I know, right? Okay. So I would have mastered shields so quick.
So
hide my smell.
So quickly.
You can't smell or hear anything.
Key lion. You need to show me how to ward against this stuff.
So maybe I am day court.
Yeah.
I'm day court. Calling it.
I don't know if you're flashy enough for day court.
I mean, I'm a modest day court. I'm like a Nesta day court.
You're like Lucian. You're like a bastard.
I'm a bastard. I'm okay with that. I'm sorry.
Right.
Where were we? Okay.
They walk in.
So they walk in.
All black.
All black. Beautiful, pregnant, wonderful, powerful.
Yes.
Behind them is the sisters. And Elaine, who through all of this has been touted as the most beautiful of the sisters. Like, she's wearing black. Black is not her color.
Yeah,
she
I like how they note
pale.
that black it wears her.
Yeah.
I think Cassian says that, like,
Eee.
totally wears her instead of her wearing it.
Yes.
Anyways.
She's still beautiful, but just, like, nothing next to Nesta. Nesta has, like, the crown and, like, this black velvet or, like, dark blue velvet gown that, like, had the modesty, but did, like, hug her curves and stuff, and she just looked amazing.
Right.
And very much the regal, like, powerful.
Well, and Cassian says, like, she, like, owns it. Like, she almost glows with the attention. Like, she soaks in the attention. She commands it.
Bred by her mother to play this role.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. They're like, Elaine undersold her.
Yes.
In that story about the Duke.
Yes.
Essentially.
So they are all standing, and, you know, whenever in the Court of Nightmares, it's always like, they looked bored, like this bored face. Like, they're just acting like everything, they're just too cool for everything.
Yeah.
So very much high school cafeteria-esque.
Yeah, yeah.
But Eris comes up, and he's like, hey, and Reese is like, Reese is like, here is your solstice gift. And he actually gives him the small dagger that Nesta made. And
he doesn't tell him that it's made.
Nope.
But Eris can feel that
the power.
Like,
and he like closes it, and he's like, what is this? And
what the fuck you doing?
And he like actually like puts it back and is like, okay, you just hold on for it. Like, you could just keep it. But like Cassian in his head was going through like, I know they had to give him like, I don't like that we're doing this, but building that trust.
Yeah. It's important.
It's important. But he was like, that's too big of a price to give him something that powerful.
Right. And not tell him.
Yes.
I thought that was a clear, like a bold choice. I couldn't quite, I don't know why. Yeah. Right? I didn't know what the motive there was. None of them knew he was going to do that either. So like another thing that was just like, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Reese always has a plan. He's always a couple steps ahead. So there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
But this is part of seeing it from Cassian and Nesta's point of view that we don't get that clarity that we would have got in the other books on what the purpose was of these things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Eris is like, thank you. And Feyre says, I would offer to dance with you, but in my condition, I just don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
But you know what? You could, maybe one of my sisters.
Maybe.
And Elaine is just like, pick me. And Nesta is so bored. And, you know, Feyre's like, my oldest sister.
Yeah.
And it was played so well. So Eris, like, didn't know he was falling right into this trap.
Oh, yeah.
And he, like, leans in and is like, I always heard the other sister was the more beautiful, but I would say not tonight. Which I'm like, not a great compliment.
You actually very much delivered that cheesy ass line the way I heard it when I read it. Like, hey,
I'm gonna give you a backhanded compliment and think that I'm so smart
or something like that.
Oh,
did it hurt?
Oh my God, are you okay?
Did it hurt?
Are you hurt?
From heaven?
Did it hurt when you fell from heaven?
Like, hey, I thought your sister was pretty and you were the ugly one, but I guess your sister's the ugly one and you're the pretty one.
At least for tonight.
Swoon.
But so they start dancing, and everybody's describing this as like, she is beautiful. Everybody's in awe of how she dances and moves with the music, and you can tell she just loves it.
Yeah.
And it's the only time anybody like is like, oh, Nesta looks happy. She usually just looks like a straight up B word.
I got the same vibes as when they described Cassian in battle.
Yes.
Right? Like the beauty of it.
Oh, that's a good correlation.
Oh, I wish I could say I thought of it. I watched a video on TikTok and someone else thought of it, and I was like, boom, very much so.
I appreciate that you give credit where credit is due.
I mean, I don't know who that person was. So if it was your idea and you're one of the 10 people that listen to this, kudos to you. But putting my spin on it, I very much did see that. The awe at what it was. Now, we heard it from Feyre's point of view about Cassian.
Yeah.
But she also described Nesta watching him and mesmerized by the beauty of it. Yeah. And then the way Cassian was describing her, I very much got that same feeling.
Yeah.
He also said she was seducing Eris within an inch of his life, and everyone noticed it.
Yeah. So
it was working. Very much so.
And so they are just dancing, and all of a sudden, move. And Cassian cuts in, and Eris is like, no, like, we're dancing, man. And Nesta plays it so well to not hurt Cassian's ego, but also, like, keep...
Well, and Eris was kind of a dick. He's like, go sit on your master's feet, dog. Yeah. Like, he was a dick.
And Nesta was just like, oh, don't get greedy. Take turns.
Meanwhile, she's like, I wanted to rip his fucking throat out.
It's so funny. Like, she would, like, be saying, like, oh, it's so hard not to just, like...
Yeah.
But
she got him to walk away.
She did. Yeah. And so she danced with Cassio and just kind of like... you probably shouldn't have done that. And you can tell, like, he's getting yelled at by Feyre and Rhys in his head. He's like, I know. I'll deal with that later.
But I love how she said Cassian, like, swallowed and took a breath. And she's like, he's nervous. Mm-hmm. Couldn't you see this big, like, man bun? And he's like, oh, okay, I'm going to dance now. And you just did that. So I have to dance with you. And something tells me he's not really a dancer.
Yes. Yeah. But he does it, and she describes it as not as good as Eris, but good in his own way.
Yeah.
You know, like,
but she led still.
Yeah.
But he was pretty good.
Yeah.
And then Cassian's like, you've been training with more for weeks. It was so cute.
It was so cute.
If he wanted to, he would.
And he did.
He did.
Meanwhile, 3 dances in, Eris walks up to Feyre and Rhys, and we're like, okay.
How much for the bride?
I will give you anything you want if you just let me have her.
And I love how Feyre was fucking pissed.
And Az cut in after Cassian.
Yeah.
And so Az and Nesta are dancing. Moore and Cassian, like, Cassian walked over and was like, thanks man for teaching me to dance. And so they all get pulled into Rhys's mind so that they can witness this exchange about this wedding. And you hear Feyre yelling at him in his brain and him just ignoring it.
It's like the group chat. I think of these like
oh my God,
party.
That's so right.
It's like a group chat where she's like, bitch, I'll rip your fucking throat out.
I wish you would. So Rhys just like plays it off while like Feyre's like, you can't buy my sister, you jerk.
Yeah, no.
And Rhys is like, I'll talk to her. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. But Cassian was picking up on something. I did notice that he said he could tell there was more to this ask than just like lust.
Well, again, it's breeding.
That's what I was just going to say.
He wants the most powerful person.
Yeah.
And he's smitten after 3 dances.
I mean, Andy's got a dagger.
She seduced a duke at 14.
Yeah.
She seduced a High Lord's son and most likely heir with 3 dances.
Yeah. She does good. She does her job. Nesta gets the job done. Eris feels important. Eris is smitten and wants her. Okay? Next day is winter solstice. Nesta's actually going to the river house with Cassian. Little nervous,
Very
right?
nervous,
She hasn't been here at all. Last year, she was paid to come, essentially. She walks in. First thing she runs into, Elaine. Elaine kind of does her... They haven't talked at all. You got to remember, right? They had a fight and they have not talked at all. Elaine asks if Feyre had to pay her like she did last year. Like, Elaine kind of dug in right away.
Pissed.
Yeah, she was a little bitchy. And she also went on her high horse and was like, just whatever you do, don't upset Feyre. In her condition, and Nesta is like, oh, fuck you. I laughed so hard because I was honestly thinking that. At this point, I went from I could not stand Nesta to realizing reading this that I actually kind of liked her. Because I was like, she's working so fucking hard and she's making progress and you guys keep fucking like
fuck
you.
Her down.
Leave her alone. And I love how Elaine just looked at her and started cracking up. Because Nesta has never been that, like, real around her. She was always protecting her.
Yeah.
And honestly treating her like a thing, which pissed Elaine off a little bit. And now she's actually just like, fuck you, leave me alone.
Yeah.
They actually, it was like they were sisters.
And they put arm in arm and they walked in together.
They did. I loved that. Nesta tried to apologize, too. And she was like, I'm so sorry. And Elaine's like, no.
We're good.
I think we're good.
That's the most real you've ever been to me. So
she was
thank
also cracking jokes back and forth. Like they asked her about training. She's like, "Yeah, we're learning to disembowel a man." Lucian like chokes on his wine, and Cassian's like, "Nesta's really good at it, by the way, obviously." So she was really like, I don't want to say herself because I don't know if we've ever seen her like this.
Yeah, she was comfortable.
Yeah, she was comfortable. Definitely comfortable.
I love that. He makes her more herself.
I feel like both me and you have described like meeting both of our husbands that way.
Yeah.
Too. Like you felt more confident. You were saying the little jokes that you thought in your head and would laugh to yourself. You started saying them out loud because it's like, oh.
And then people found out funny. I was a little funny.
You're really funny. You're not a little funny. You're really funny.
Well, when I say it out loud. But sometimes when I say it out loud, it's awkward. I've learned I went too far the other way.
That's all part of being funny, man. There's
just put it out.
There's a couple times where it's a little too weird, and then you like go, oh, it's a little too weird. Okay.
Fair. That was weird.
Wrong audience. Another room that would have killed. Try it again later. Put it in the file cabinet. In that, Moore is also like, ooh, can I come train with you guys when I get back from Van Hollen? And I just thought it was very family. It felt very natural.
Yeah.
That's how I felt, which is total fucking opposite from the Christmas special.
Well, and I like that, nobody but Amren is beating a dead horse. They see Nesta trying, and they're letting her try instead of being mad.
Amren knows how to dig and poke.
Yes.
She's not doing that.
Fair.
She's not doing anything.
That's nice for Amren, I guess.
It is nice for Amren, actually.
Just to ignore.
To me, it shows that Amren's actually really hurt.
Yeah.
Because she's not one to not say exactly what's on her mind and like do it on purpose to have someone explode. So I think I read from that, she does actually say that Nesta has made progress because she's not like purposely trying to ignite her, but she's hurt by what happened and is kind of waiting for her apology. But again, the sisters get Nesta a gift. They get her $300 worth of, or 300 books worth of credit at the store, and they were like priding themselves on that'll definitely be enough.
That's a year's worth.
And Cassian, like, he knows her so well, he's like, that won't even get her through half the year.
So how long, 300 books, how long would that take you?
300 books? I mean, it's what?
Would that be a year long?
No, I'm not reading 300 books.
How much are you reading?
I think I'm at like 60 right now for the year.
Okay, so you're like 100 books.
Yeah. Also, Az got Nesta a gift. And not only did he get her a gift, it was a very, very thoughtful gift.
Yes.
Like, I do want to know more about Az because he's so secretive.
Yes.
And he did this with Elaine last year, too, where I was like, I guess he is a spy. It's his job to pick up on details. But he really picks up on details.
He's an observer.
Yeah, he got her this little clip that you put on your book, and it'll cast a little fey light so she can read wherever she's at. I want
one.
Right?
Yes.
Not with that stupid twisty cord and all that stuff.
Or like mine clips on the book, but then it like is too big, and so like it like flops the book. I feel like I could be an adult and get a layup, but who does that?
It's sleeping next to Derek though. Like when I want to lay in bed and read at the end of the night, but he's going to bed. The Kindle work. I just read off the Kindle now. Okay. Anyways, focus, people. Okay. Also, Lucian was forever third wheel.
Of course he was.
For the second year in a row.
Just struck like out. Puppy dog eyes.
He tried to hide that he was disappointed that Elaine didn't give a fuck about his gift.
His gift wasn't very good for her.
I think it was a good gift.
It was like a piece of jewelry, right? That's not really Elaine. Get her some gardening gloves. He don't know her. Which he doesn't, because he's only had like 2 conversations heavily chaperoned with her.
Heavily chaperoned conversations. So no wonder it's awkward.
Golly, poor guy.
So Cassian decided they were staying the night basically because he was going to be too drunk to fly them home. Yes. So Nesta walks into her room that Feyre had designed for her, and she makes a note that it was designed like exactly the way she would. And
if she could have designed it herself.
And then she realized Feyre asked her to, and she was a bitch.
Yes.
Cassian comes into her room, and he's like, so we're going to try this again this year. I got you something. And she instantly apologizes for the year before.
Yeah.
And how awful she was and all of that. And he's like, I forgave you a long time ago. Open it, open it, open it, open it, open it. The sweet... It makes me want to know what he threw into the Sidra. Because...
Well, he tells us.
What?
It's a tiny itty-bitty book, like first edition book.
Oh.
And that one I was kind of like, well, I mean...
This is a great gift.
A great gift.
He got her a symphonomia. How would you say that? Symphonomia?
I would call that a tiny boombox.
He got her a circle music box, a little orb.
Oh, an Alexa.
He got her
an Alexa.
An Alexa that records. It records live music. It is from Helion's court. And it traps music and plays it back. He went back the next day to the Huon City orchestra, had them replay the music that she had danced to the night before, went to the different bars she used to frequent, paid all of them to play the music that she heard there, and now she has it with her.
Plus a couple of classics that he threw in for fun. He made her a mixtape.
Like
a mixed CD.
Coolest mixtape.
A playlist. What do the kids say now?
It doesn't matter.
A Spotify playlist.
For us, it's a mixtape. Because that makes me go, oh. And Nesta instantly starts crying, says she cannot accept it. She's kind of being a little rude about it, but not as bad as the year before. And Cassian told her it's a music box. It's not a fucking wedding ring. And she gets a little snippy.
Yeah.
When he says that. So she's like, no, I'd go to Eris for that. And Cassian's like, are you planning to accept his proposal? And Nesta's just like, maybe. She didn't say anything. She was just like, no, I don't know. And Cassian said he gets it. As soon as he gets too close, you're going to push me away. And Nesta said they weren't dating. They're just fucking. And Cassian said the only thing fit for a bastard-born brute, right? And she's like, I never said that. Then Nesta asked him, why'd you cut in on me and Eris? And he's like, because I was fucking jealous. You looked like a fucking queen. You're supposed to be with someone like him. He's all pretty and prince-like and all of that. And she said that Eris is the brute. And she should marry him because she's just like him. So we start to see, again, that self-loathing like come out. Like when they were on the hike. When she was on her mental health retreat. She told him denying herself him was the way she was punishing herself. And she looked up and Cassian's crying and he kissed her. And he's like, you're not fucking marrying Eris. And she's like, no, I'm not going to marry Eris.
It's just me and you, babe.
Neither one of us are ever going to marry anybody else. And they're like, nope, ever. No, ever. Forever, ever.
And then...
Now, chicken wow.
And the wet, so...
The wet?
The way... No. The way they described it was very, like, soul...
Yes. Chapter 55.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So, they are together forever.
They definitely described it that we knew something magical happened. They didn't say it, but it definitely was magical. She asked him to stay the night.
And they finally cuddle all night long.
Coitus.
There's some what? Oi.
As soon as I said it, I'm like, that's not right.
And then the benefits of that is they woke up and... Bow, chico, bow,
everyone likes a little bit of morning sex.
I have to have brushed teeth.
Oh, you're missing out.
Well, you can go to the bathroom and brush your teeth real quick.
Brush your teeth before you go to bed.
Yeah, I do that too. Oh. You're supposed to do both.
I like to go.
Does that turn you on?
Do you like halitosis? Why do we talk like that when we're saying that? Okay, all right. So the next morning, Cassian's like, I gotta bounce out for a snowball fight.
Shoot, I'm late for snowballs. By the way,
she's like, a snowball fight? He's like, yeah. And after that, I gotta go do some shit in the Illyrian camps.
So see you later.
In a couple of days.
So she's just like, oh, okay. And so she just goes to training. He's not there.
Az is there.
Az is taking over. Awkward alone dinners with Az. Like...
Or in her future. Like, that's what she's thinking of. So she's like, hey, Emery, Gwen, you guys want to do a sleepover? Like, read together in a room or something?
So, I love this book-in idea.
I think we should do it, reading a book series, and just, like, read it and record all, like...
We should do, like, a marathon where we literally sit and read and then live our podcast.
We should do that.
Oh, my God, that's such a good idea.
I think we have to leave the homes where our children and husbands are.
Yes, agreed.
And just go like read and podcast.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Live with the Lit Sisters.
Book in. Okay, so they played a book in.
Emery goes, Cassian must be real good in bed if you're getting all antsy and you got to have people over just because he's gone. You get all tied up in knots. And Nesta just like didn't really say anything.
Well, and then she's like...
Emery's like, I knew it.
Yeah, she's like, you can tell by how he walks.
He's got the walk.
He walks.
I laughed because...
He knows how to use it.
I pictured the walk.
Yeah.
Right? Ah, she's right.
There is probably a walk. Dude.
I can picture it right now.
Do the walk.
I can't do the walk. I can't show you my secret.
That means you're not good at bed. I'm sorry.
Just either you have it or you don't. You walk with confidence. It's a confidence thing.
Okay. Fair.
Not to say not confident people can't be freaks in bed. You might be.
Okay.
You might be. It's okay.
Okay. So they're just sitting and reading.
Well, Emery comes first.
Yes. Yeah. Emery comes first. And actually, Nesta, she prepared everything by saying, hey, house, can you set up a room for 3? Just all in the same room.
Yeah.
And like,
with like pillows
get some
and blankets.
Stuff. Yeah. So she walks into the library that she always hangs out in. There's 3 cots sitting there. There's like a table of food, like plenty of food for them, a charcuterie board, like cookies.
Those little brownies
everything.
you can get from Costco.
Yeah.
When Gwen got there, they had chocolate cake. And she's like, oh, I didn't know you made chocolate cake. And she's like, no, we just asked the house for it. And the house like brought it here. And they're like, wait, you could ask the house for whatever you want. They had some fun.
Yeah.
It just pans to like sitting in a bubble bath with a tiny horse.
3 separate bubble baths, but with no water. So just bubbles, but it's not ruining your clothes. And there's like a miniature Pegasus and like a chocolate fountain I pictured. I don't know, just like
all
random
crazy stuff.
And they're just laughing.
Yes.
So hard.
A great girls' night.
Yes. And then Gwen is like, hey, I didn't know we would have a magic house to play with, so I brought an activity. It seems kind of lame now, but do you guys want to try it?
You guys want to make friendship bracelets?
And she's like, me and my sisters used to do this. And we actually hear a little bit, like, they each, like, open up a little bit further with each other, and Gwen, like, actually talks about her sister.
Yes, they hadn't heard her actually bring her up before.
Yeah, how much she relied on her sister, and her sister was all she had. We still don't know what happened to her sister or anything. And she basically acknowledges, like, I'll tell you guys someday, but I can't yet. Yeah. I'm not ready.
Yeah.
So they make these bracelets, and Gwen is showing them how. Nesta is just horrible at it. They each pick, like, colors for each other that represents them.
Each other, yeah.
Yeah. And then Gwen actually had these charms, and she was like, I actually was going to make these a while ago, but the Amazon package got lost in the mail. These guys were delayed for winter solstice.
Yeah.
And so she's like, when we get halfway, let's put the charms on. But what we do in my family is we, like, put a prayer into the charms.
Yeah.
For each other. And so she, like, hands it, and she's like, okay, Emery, why don't you do a prayer for me? And Nessa's like, no, I'll take all 3.
Yeah.
Only my prayers matter. No. And she says, like, we will always have the courage to go out in the world, but we'll always come back and find each other.
Yeah.
And she, like, opens it, and it's like, that's my wish. And she swears it, like, glows real quick.
Yeah.
And so we know what that means. And so they put them on and finish their bracelets, put on their bracelets, and they're all cute.
Yeah. When Gwen was talking about her sister, she mentioned that they had their differences, but they loved each other all the same.
Yeah.
Nesta kind of thought about her and Feyre in that they do have their differences, but they do, like, love each other and come back together.
And she's like, all sisters fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
It happens.
It does. And sometimes you need
It's
friends.
about to happen right now.
It's really awkward, but yeah, sometimes you just need to get away from your sister and have friends.
Like, that's why we didn't record last week. No, I'm just kidding. So, Cassian finally comes back. And
5 days later.
5 days.
He rocks her world in the most amazing way. It's a magical experience. Hint, hint. A magical experience. And he comes back 5 fucking days later.
And the crazy thing is how Nesta describes it as it got so long that I started having to masturbate.
I mean, I don't think you had to twist her arm. She was basically constantly horny, and he was gone for 5 fucking days.
Yes. And so finally, he's back.
Is that training, finally?
Exactly. And he's surprised at how much better they've gotten in these 5 days.
Gwen's like, you want to see something, bitch?
Yeah. And she goes, whatcha?
Yeah.
And she gets the ribbon.
She cut the ribbon. They always tried at the beginning and at the end of practice. And she cuts it at the beginning.
Yes. And Nesta actually grabs the ribbon and ties it around Gwen's head. Almost like a samurai. And she just says, Valkyrie.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, wow. That's like a crowning moment. Like, she is now Valkyrie according to the mythology.
Yeah.
And so then, Emery tries it and Nesta tries it. And finally, Emery gets it.
Uh-huh.
2 hours later or something like that. And so Emery gets a band. And then finally, right at the end of practice, Nesta gets it.
Yeah.
So all 3 of them get their ribbons, get their Valkyrie badge.
Yep.
And just Cassian's beaming with pride, but also...
Which the name of the section of the book is Valkyrie, so we kind of assumed they were going to cut the ribbon at some point.
Great foreshadowing.
Cassian's kind of like, what? I guess you guys are all right.
I guess you guys are cool.
Yeah.
And so the next day he's like, you guys have graduated, but boom!
Yeah.
Here is what I imagine is the ninja warrior course, but with knives.
I like how that's a much better reference. I referenced the one where the announcers are making fun of them.
What is that called?
I forget now.
But John Cena is one of the commentators.
Yes. I just imagine a more bloopery one. Wood, too. Because it's like...
This is war, Nicole!
No, but I imagine everything like that, but wood. Like a wood. Anyways. I get stoned when I read, too. Obstacle course.
Yes. And so he's like, break up in teams of 3. If you don't operate as a team, you're going to fail.
Well, and that's also because the Valkyries' true strength was they worked as units.
Yes.
That's where they really got their power.
Nesta, Emery, and Gwen are, of course, tied together. Uh-huh. And they go not even close.
Yeah.
Not even halfway. They
not even 2
Yeah, they get beat
steps.
up. And every group of 3 that goes through doesn't do it.
Yeah. Then 3 hours later, they've still only made it halfway.
Yeah. Still not great. This is when you see Gwen and Az go back and forth.
The googly eyes?
Yeah, where she's just like, oh, we'll do it. Don't worry. And Az is like, nah, probably not. And so, they keep practicing every day. They're going through this thing.
Well, and as this is happening, more and more priestesses are cutting the ribbon
and
joining the obstacle course.
Yes.
Which I was like, damn,
so
those priestesses.
They've got a lot.
Rosalind ain't too bad. Huh?
Well, and Nesta's even thinking, we're training, but we'll never go to war. Some of these women probably will never leave.
They're training to heal.
Yeah.
No one will ever take advantage of them again.
Yes.
They don't need to be trapped by their trauma. Every night, what is Nesta still doing?
She's still going to the singing. She even, learns, she goes to the ceremonies, too.
Yes, she goes to the ceremonies, but she's also doing the stairs every night. And she makes a comment that it's not the nightmares or the voices, that are making her do the stairs. It's her determination to beat this obstacle course. It's almost like she continues, training. Yeah.
I got this.
Yeah.
And so one day, she actually, comes out, and none of the priestesses are there. It's just her, Gwen, and Emery.
Right.
And they said, oh, something happened, and all the priestesses have to come to the ceremony, but, we're letting Gwen stay. She's exempt today.
And this is 2 months of...
Yes.
Training.
2 months.
Yeah.
And so they get up and they go through the course, and they're zigging, and they're sagging, and they're solving, and they're fighting. I don't know. That's
exactly what I pictured. All right.
And they get through it. They're like, yeah, we got it. And I think Gwen even is like, see, as I told you.
Yeah.
What's our prize now? And he's like, congratulations.
Yep.
You just finished the qualifier for the what?
The blood rite.
The great blood rite.
And they looked up, and Devlin was up there, and a couple of other like commanders.
And those guys looked pissed.
They were pissed, but Devlin put the 3 bastards in there.
Yeah.
He'll put them in.
Yeah. So they just like don't even say good job or like you proved me wrong, or girls can do things. Yeah. They just like get up and fly away like irritated.
Yeah.
And so Cassian's like, I knew today was the day.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also thought it was sweet that they told the other priestesses that men were going to be there. And so they gave them like the choice to not come.
Yeah.
Because they weren't comfortable.
Well, and Nesta like turned around and was like, Gwen, you knew?
Yeah.
Like, because they had to have asked her if she felt comfortable too.
Yeah.
And she's like, I knew some other men were going to be here. I just didn't know who or
I didn't
why.
know it was a qualifier. Yeah.
Yes.
Which I also found sweet. Because obviously we don't know her story yet, but it's pretty traumatic.
Yes. So we find out that since they qualify, like they're as close to Illyrians.
I like how the girls didn't really even care. They're like, rather be called Valkyrie. I don't care.
Valkyrie is cooler. So they did it.
They qualified for the blood rite, which also proves Cassian right to the commanders on women should be allowed to do this. They can.
These aren't even Illyrian women.
Right.
Our women could do more.
Not only that, the one that is Illyrian, you guys fucked up her wings.
Yeah, and she's still kicking ass.
She's still kicking ass. Still kicking ass and taking names. So they get back. It's Starfall, actually.
Yeah.
Nesta goes directly to the stairs. She is bound and determined.
So she's, after a sweaty workout, she's doing stairs.
Yeah, she did the stairs. She makes it all the way to the street.
She's like,
and you know what I find interesting? I'm proud of her. Okay, yes. I'm proud of Nesta. She made it down the bottom of the stairs. But we never talk about how she has to turn around and go back up.
Yes.
We only talk about how hard it is going down. Going down's the easier part.
Yeah, going up sucks.
Going up is the worst.
Both of them suck.
And they just like mention it like, and she made it to stair, blah, blah, blah. And turned around. That's it. Not huffed all the way back up.
I'm halfway through that. Yeah. That means I made it halfway.
This is another instance where it's like she made it to the bottom. And then she went back up. And Cassian was at the top. Just magically poof.
Well, and so she's all sweaty and gross. Everybody's in fancy clothes. And she just goes up there sweaty in Illyrian leather.
Yep.
Which I love.
I loved it.
But I'm also like, you probably smell.
The hygiene. You get real caught up on hygiene.
It's
a good thing to get caught up on. If you're going to get caught up on anything.
I went through COVID. I don't know if you know about this. There was this pandemic.
You were like this before. COVID. The C word. Shh. She went up there. Also, Cassian notes, like when the stars started falling and everything, she laughed like pure joy.
Yeah.
Like she's really healing.
Well, and people actually like looked at her like, oh, wow, I've never heard that sound before.
Amren said that. She goes, that's a sound I never thought I would hear from you again. Nesta immediately bowed to her and said she was sorry. She told her, you only gave me kindness and respect and time, and I treated you like garbage.
Which I feel like was overkill. Bowing to her.
But it's Amren.
Just said it.
It's Amren. Better go big. All of them go big with
I guess
Amren.
If you walk in on somebody and yell at them while they're doing their person.
Not only that, they got in that huge fight on the boat and haven't talked for like a year, essentially.
I would be more angry about her.
I'm saying that's the second one. Yeah. Like that's round 2, if not more. And Amren did just try and help her all the time. And she just got mad and used it like, you're picking Feyre. Anyways, we don't have to rehash that. We've already talked about it in previous episodes. Amren's response, she just smiles and was like, hey, I went poke around the house. See what you done back there. I see what you've done with this place. And Nesta's like, I don't understand what you're talking about. She's like, the house is alive because of you. Like, you made the house come alive. And she's like, Nesta's like, no, the house was already alive. It was just talking to me. And she's like, when you came here, what did you want deep down in your soul?
A friend.
Nesta said a friend.
Because you didn't love me anymore, Amren.
She needed someone who didn't fucking talk back to just support her for a little bit.
Just take care of her.
Emotionally. And then it was like the house, and it was Cassian, in all honesty.
She actually also said, no, that can't be right. I only make things that are bad. And
she's like,
This
is the house bad?
No.
It's not bad. The house shows her the key that darkness will always remain, but how you choose to face it is the important part, which is Nesta's whole fucking story.
Well, I also think if you look at the sisters' stories, like this is very much the Feyre looking in the mirror.
Yeah.
Like, and you look back and it's like, there's very many like correlations to their love stories.
Between their like, not even love story, they're coming of age, right? They're like coming of age story. It's like exactly the same. I hope Elaine's is totally different.
Well, we'll find out.
Because I think she's totally different.
That's the next book.
It has to be.
Nesta and Cassian have to meet Eris.
Right.
And so it's very cute because now that they're lovers,
right,
they are in each other's rooms, one or the other, and they actually say sometimes it's neither one of those rooms. We just pick a room that's closest that we bang in, and then we'll just fall asleep there. So they're just leaving.
And keep in mind, the last time Eris saw Nesta, he asked for her hand in marriage.
Yes.
Right?
So they're going to go meet him.
So you know he's like primping, getting all ready, putting the cologne on, like, I'm going to see Nesta again. And she walks in with Cassian, and it's like, oh, damn.
You again.
you again.
But Eris still is laying it on thick.
He is.
And she's just looking at the mountain and is just like, what is this place? Why is it sacred? And he's just like, there's 3 of these sacred mountains and nothing grows on it. And this one has a palace below. And she's like, yeah, I know the story. My sister died, remember? And he's like, and then the prison has a palace. And she's like, that prison isn't really a palace. And he's like, are you sure? And she's like, yeah, it's definitely not.
It's definitely a prison.
I've been there. I murdered a god there.
His point is, it's large and there's a lot of rooms.
Yes. And he's like, and it's the one in those stupid brutes cat-like area. I wonder if there's anything there. Those guys are so dumb they don't even look.
They've never even looked in Ramil.
And Cassian's just like, shut up. Who asked you, man?
Yeah.
And then Nessa's like, I did.
Actually, I asked.
Proceed, Eris.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's like, Cassian starts playing courtier.
Yes.
And he is actually doing a very good job.
Yes. Yes, Eris let him know that his dad visited Braylon the week before. And they're all just, waiting to see if she finds the harp or who finds the harp. And then Cassian and Nesta kind of both go, oop. Do like a quick look at each other, like, he's like, you fucking found the harp and didn't tell me, didn't you?
Yeah, oops. Well, you didn't need to know. Cassian played it off so well.
Yeah.
And Nesta, even in her head, was just like, oh, that courtier voice. Ooh. I hope he brings that to the bed later.
And Eris is kind of like, this is sus. He's insinuating, like, I think you kept this from me on purpose.
Yes.
Because you wanted to use the harp or use, all of these things. And Cassian and Nesta did a really good job, like, playing back and forth in this moment, I think. Yeah. Like, they were both doing a good job playing courtier.
Yes.
Cassian was up at her level, and they were zinging and zanging him. And they basically toyed with Eris.
Eris was like, okay, 2 things. 1, we have an alliance. Like, you can't leave me out to dry.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, yeah, we can. We don't really care.
Yeah.
And then he's like, 2, what about this engagement? Like, I asked you to marry me a couple of days ago, and you have ignored me ever since. And she's like, if we have all the dread trove, we don't really need you, so no thanks. Like, I didn't really want you anyway.
Like, he's very dismissible, yeah.
And he's like, I asked you to marry me.
I actually liked you.
Like, bogus. And she's like, yeah, I don't really care. Take me away, Cassian.
They were very proud of themselves.
Yes. On their way back, though, Nesta was spooked about, like, Cassian, like, showing affection.
Yeah.
In public.
Yes. Being kind of territorial.
Yeah.
of her. And she's like, you can't do that. And he's like, this is how like Feyre and Rhys were. And she's like, they're different. They're mates. And he's like,
yeah.
What the fuck do you think happened 5 days ago?
And she was like, you forget, I'm human.
Yeah.
I only have husband and wife. There's no mates. Like, that's just a word. It doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything to me. And he's like, okay, cool. Semantics, bro. I felt it. I know you felt it. That mating bond, that's what that was.
Yes.
That magical sex
yes.
was actually magical. You idiot. Well,
going.
He was kind of like, I thought you said you wanted to be together. And she said she doesn't know what she wants. I don't know what I want. I don't have a choice. You're telling me this is something that's put on me. I don't even feel like I have a choice in the matter. And he was like, well, I don't have a choice being shackled to you either, bitch. It's not like you're a piece of cake.
Don't say shackled. She could not get past the word shackled.
I don't know if I would be able to either. It was very much both of their personalities clashing. What they were both actually saying
with how much
made sense.
Yes.
But I could also understand why it was offensive to the other person.
They were talking past each other.
Very much so. They need some marriage counseling.
They're not married, Nicole. Don't freak out,
so,
Nesta more.
Right away, she was like, you could tell it was like one of those, like, I'm sleeping on the couch tonight. She's like, I'm calling in my favor. He's like, don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't do it, man.
And she's like, I want you to go to the House of Wind and not come and find me unless I come and find you. Or a week has passed. Like, go away. I'm calling in my favor right now. He's like, fine.
Well, first he steps towards her and he goes, oh!
Yep.
And then goes and flies away. And then more.
That's the thing about those bargains under the stars there, buddy.
Yep. His tattoo drifts off his body and more comes to Nesta. And Nesta's just like, take me away.
Yeah.
Which is, again, very before.
Oh, more.
I guess chapter 54.
More's the girl's girl.
Yeah.
Coming in and saving. Yeah.
So.
She goes to Emery's shop.
Yeah.
And as soon as she walks in, she collapses and starts crying. Gwen came. Gwen left the library and came an hour later. And she was like, I'm going to be here supporting you. And it's funny, like she cries with her girlfriends and they talk about it. And before she even falls asleep, she's like, I'm going to go to Cassian the next day and tell him everything. Like she knew right away. She's like, I just got spooked. I got scared. I do love you. I know you're my mate. And she wakes up to the scent of males in the room and something cold and wet on her face. And she drifted off. And then boom, shifts to Cassian's point of view. Cassian had Rhys winnow him to Windhaven because he knew she was there. And he's like, he never said I couldn't come. She never said I couldn't come here.
Well, and he's like, in the back of his mind, he's like, I'm sad that she did that, but there's so many loopholes. I need to teach her how to say bargain, like call in these bargains.
I know
better.
You love me is basically what he was going to say.
You need to word this a little bit differently so that way there's no loopholes.
Yeah, but Rhys and Cassian realize pretty quickly that they're gone and that males, they smell the males and they know that they winnowed in and out of the house. And then they realized Alarians only had the power to winnow on one night.
The night before
the blood rite.
The blood rite.
So Gwen, Emery, and Nesta had all been snatched from their beds from Emery's shop and entered the blood rite that night.
Dun dun dun!
And that is the end of the Valkyrie section.
What is going through your mind right now?
I'm excited for the blood rite. I think the girls are totally ready. And I'm excited to get to like a little bit of a war portion of this. Because I feel like even though Feyre was in more like war type strategy and things like that, it wasn't necessarily soldier battle.
Yeah.
And I feel like all three of these ladies are like, they're fucking soldiers.
Yeah.
Like they are soldiers. Yeah. They know what they're doing in fighting. So it's just a very different point of view of everything that's going on. And frankly, none of that has happened yet. We are over 3/4 of the way through this very big book.
Not very many pages left.
No, I mean, it's not, it might be a third, like a fifth of the book is left. And we're getting to real shit now.
Yeah, it's 100 pages left.
Of like a, what, 600-page book.
750-page book.
Yeah. So 1/7 or 6/7 of the book is
Wow,
not about when there's only one in it. I'm pretty quick. When you only have to subtract or add one, I got it. It has not been. It's been about training. It's been about healing. It's been very much a mental health journey, in all honesty, and like finding herself. And I think she's ready to like succeed.
Yes.
And like get a big fucking win, because she's had the wins and the failures and learned through the failures, and now it's like all of them are ready to just smash the patriarchy.
So there's a couple thoughts in my head.
Yeah.
One thought, have a like adventure trip where somebody makes me as in shape as Nesta, like in a boot camp setting. I want to go to Valkyrie training somewhere, like a fat farm.
Okay. So this is like a year
Okay.
of time, and then you compete in something.
Well, no. I don't want to compete. I want to go to Cassian training, Valkyrie training.
Yeah, but my point is it's going to take more than a week.
Well, I can take 2. No,
it's a lifestyle.
If I go 2 weeks every year, this is a reoccurring business. They would make millions of dollars.
Anyways, you're talking about a business idea.
Yes.
Go to Valkyrie training camp?
Valkyrie training camp.
Oh, I'd go to Valkyrie training camp.
Yes.
Is Cassian going to be there?
Well, a Cassian lookalike.
Maybe it's an entire experience.
Yes, it's like an ACOSF Valkyrie training.
It's a theme park ride. What do you call Rise of the Resistance?
No, I need somebody to get me in shape. This is
hands on.
I need
full immersion camp.
I need a trainer to make it sound as calming to
Question:
exercise.
do I need to dress in a robe?
You can dress in whatever you want.
Do I have to pick
Illyrian? Yeah, you have to pick Illyrian leathers, night court pajamas, a dress.
Can I pick to sit on the rock like Nesta did for the first fourth of the book?
Go for it. My second thought is, I said this a little bit earlier, but I did not realize until this fight that they had that they were mates.
Yeah, I realized it.
And I just thought like
they
liked each other.
I just reaced you.
You did.
I kind of knew that. I just was making sure.
You're so
the second read, you didn't remember it either?
So I didn't realize it until you told me, well, they're mates.
Oh, after the first read, you said that.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I went back and marked that page and went back and read it again because I was like going through and I'm like,
Then did it make sense?
I think why I didn't catch on the first time I read it is because I just skimmed the sex part. Because they're like graphically talking about what's going
Marissa, on. This aversion to sex and smut is messing with your job.
No. I'm sorry that I phoned it in the first time I read it because I did skim that part. And so I had to read it to show like in between the like grab the D was and then their souls combined.
It was way hotter than grab the D. Okay. way hotter. All right. We have one section left. I think it's pretty obvious what it's about. The blood right.
How will they do?
First, before we talk about that, who's your favorite character right now? And I'm going to add to this. It's 2-part. Who's your favorite character right now? Who are you disappointed you're not hearing more about?
I mean, that's easy. Who is my favorite character right now is Gwen.
I could see that. I love it. I love Gwen too.
Who I want to hear more about is Elaine.
You really want Elaine?
I'm interested in this.
I want to talk about in our theories and not spoilers, in our theories episode.
Yeah.
We're going to have a whole section on Elaine, and we're going to talk about a lot of different theories with her.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's something there and everybody's overlooking her.
There will be. It's just when it comes.
As the middle sister, I kind of connect to the fact that she's a little bit overlooked.
I think her story is going to be the most badass. If it's told last, I think it's going to be the most, like, the best coming of age.
Good. Fingers crossed.
And it should be direct opposite of Nesta's. So we'll talk about this in the theories, but I kind of hope Elaine's coming of age has nothing to do with a man.
Ooh, I like that.
We're going to talk more in a future episode, but yeah, I like that one.
I'm going to switch my questions to you.
Oh, okay.
Back to you.
All right.
One, we all know who your favorite character is, but I'll let you elaborate. My second follow-up question.
We all know because I don't really know.
I know what you're going to say. I'm going to show you how Reese I am.
Okay.
Okay. So who's your favorite character is your first question.
Okay.
The second question is, which Archeron sister now do you most identify with?
Okay. I think my favorite character is the house.
Oh, I knew it! I knew it!
I did kind of say that earlier. It's hard because I also really, really like Cassian. I like his point of view. I like his, supportive. I like him as a supporting character. I do like Nesta, too.
Yeah.
Right? So, but I do think it's easier. Feyre was always Feyre, obviously, is my favorite character right now. Because I think Nesta's point of view is a little harsher, and we're seeing her journey, so it's easier to not pick her. So I do like all the main characters. But if we're picking someone different, I think the house makes me giggle and laugh a little bit. And a little zing here and there. And I like the zing. That's why I like the surreal, I liked the drama. Which one of the sisters do I identify with now? I would still probably say Feyre.
Really? I feel like you are so Nesta.
I appreciate Nesta more. I don't think my shit has been that deep.
No.
Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, you haven't gone through the trauma that she went through.
Yeah. Or the self-loathing. I don't really... I've never really hated myself. I've kind of always been really confident.
But your mother also didn't raise you to be a sniper.
I think her journey is just so totally different. Do I understand it more now and appreciate it more as an oldest?
Yes.
Because that was part of my hatred for her at the beginning. What is this shit? Why did people like Nesta? I was so fucking mad. And it's because as an oldest, I would never send let my youngest sister be the one to go out and put food on the table and save us and all of that. That's just...
You sound very Cassian.
I would fucking never. So it's hard to get over that. Now through Silver Flames, I appreciate Nesta now.
Yeah.
But I still don't necessarily... I feel like her journey and my journey are just very different.
Yeah.
I understand it, but if we're talking who's who, I do think I'm more Feyre.
Okay.
I think our youngest sister is more Nesta. I think we flip-flopped.
You started out very Nesta, minus the poverty.
There are definite correlations.
So pre them losing all their money, that's what annoyed you, is that she didn't stand up and take care of everybody, because that's what an oldest would have done.
Yeah.
So if they would have never gone into poverty, with their relationship when they were rich, which sister would you have identified? Do you still...
It's hard to know because we have no idea what Feyre's would have been.
Yeah, because she was so young.
Yeah. And the mom kind of ignored her, It'd be a totally different story. Way to ask a question that means it's a totally different fucking story.
I know.
Are you stoned or something?
Another dimension. Okay. We have one episode left of this whole ACOTAR series.
Yes. And then we have a lot of talking to do about theories that we have and what we think / hope the next book is going to be about.
Yes.
Which we know is coming out in 2025, but there is no date at this point.
But one thing that I'm really excited about is I think we're going to try to shoot both episodes in that day. So our theories one is going to be super wacky.
Ooh. Okay.
I like it.
You just dropped this on me. I didn't know that's what we were going to try and do.
Oh, I thought when you drop something, you drop it on everybody, not just the audience.
You guys are here to hear first.
Including you, Nicole.
Cool. No, I like it.
Okay. Well, everyone, have a wonderful night. You know I am. Oh, not like that. No, not like that.
Thank you for joining us as we talked about the Valkyrie section of A Court of Silver Flames. Please follow High Tales Lit Sisters on Instagram, YouTube, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for talking High Tales with your favorite Lit Sisters.
Bye.
Bye.